So here's my reaction before we even set up what I'm going to talk about, because I think it's going to get lost. And that is, try not to listen and don't whine. There you go. Have a nice day, everybody. That's it. That's the show. Wait, Jeff, what? I said, try not to listen. It's impossible not to listen, but try not to listen. In fact, listen a little less and don't whine. At least don't whine publicly. I know when I set this up, most of you are going to be offended by that. Let's start with this. A modern day reality. This has been true always, by the way. This is coming from a person who's been booed before, at home, by the way, in a home game booed. That's always nice. But a modern day reality is this. The higher profile you are, the higher profile the game, the higher profile the show, the higher profile of anything, the more of the spotlight you look for, you're going to get it. It's not hard now. So the higher the profile, the more hate and the more love you're going to get. Social media, and this is, again, not new problems, not new issues. They've just been magnified. That's what social media has done. It's just given a giant anonymous bullhorn to a lot of people to make a lot of noise. It's just reality. It doesn't go away. The issue is how well you can deal with it. So social media gives everyone the anonymous bullhorn. My take is, and this is hard when you're in the moment, when you're getting the yelling and the screaming and the hate and the love, when you're receiving all of it, it's hard to think this through. But the reality is the noise is a lot bigger than the audience. It feels a lot louder than it really is. But that's easier said than done in dealing with it. So the social media of today, I mean, it's a perfect equation. You get a bigger spotlight. You seek the spotlight. You're going to get a reaction. It's coming, and it's good and bad. And it's off the charts because of that anonymous bullhorn. Athletes and anybody in the public eye has to accept it. And I think most people in a calm moment would say that they do accept it. They understand it completely. But when you're living it, when that noise is blowing at you, it's not that easy. But like it or not, fair or unfair, you're going to get the noise. And the more you want to be on the stage, the more you want the audience to be bigger, the bigger the noise is going to get. So you have to accept it. And you have to accept that there will be noise. That sounds kind of preachy, right? But I think it's a decent setup for, what life is like if you're even remotely high profile. Even people that aren't high profile are chasing that spotlight, constantly chasing an audience. And when you get them, when you get that audience, you're not going to like what you get back. You can trust me on that. You turn that rock over and it feels like it's going to be a reinforcement. That rock is more times than not, what you find underneath is going to hate on you. And it's going to feel loud. So living with this, right, as a high profile athlete or anybody in any position is harder than it looks. The other modern day reality, the more involved in social media you are, the more noise you hear and see. You go in there and you start looking, you'll find it. You want it, you'll get a lot of it. The more you want the noise, the more noise you get. So look out. Just look out. To say turn away is probably impossible. But the more you look, the more you're going to get. What a setup, Jeff. Are we going home now? Nope, not yet. The women's national championship game between Iowa and LSU is the talk show gift that keeps giving. It really is. I mean, it's blowing up the sport because it is the talk show gift that keeps giving. In case you didn't know, LSU won the game by double digits. There's a bunch of issues to unpack here that are all pretty interesting, and a lot of it has to do with how people are reacting to the reactions. There's the issue of the popularity of the game. There's no denying that. It was a record 9 million and some change. 9 million people watched. The men's championship game had an all-time low number of 14.5 million. Then you get this issue of taunting. By the way, taunting is not new, and so this is going to end up making my point. But there is the issue of taunting. We can debate the issue of taunting. You can decide for yourself what you find acceptable and what you find unacceptable. That's what the audience does, by the way. The audience reacts. And we got politics. I don't know how we got politics, but somehow we've got politics. Enter stage left, the Joe Biden family. What are you guys? I know what they're doing. I was about to say, what are you guys doing? I know what they're doing. So let's start with the easy part, the politics. It's funny. Oh, it was a nice attempt. Like everything else, Joe and Jill Biden are, Joe's your uncle over there in the corner who's just nice to everyone. Joe was elected. Let me just tell you this. Joe was elected. The elderly decide elections. Got it? If you're confused by that, take a look at a map sometime. Joe is the guy who walks up he goes to every funeral. He's the nice uncle who wears a sweater. And he's the first guy to say, I'm sorry for your loss. That's Joe. That's how I got elected. Because the other guy's not that. That's how I got elected. And it might just work again. He'll just be older and nicer and still saying, I'm sorry for your loss in a sweater. So here comes the Biden family. The Biden family is in on this. And Jill Biden, again, pleasant and nice. Pleasant and nice. That's all you have to do now in politics, by the way, from what I've noticed. It's just pleasant and nice or not pleasant and nice, and nothing has to do with policy. So pleasant Jill Biden decided to invite both teams to the White House because, the standard procedure is the championship team goes to the White House unless they don't want to go to the White House. And that happens sometimes, too. I know, she says, we'll have the champions come to the White House. We always do. So we hope LSU will come. But I'm going to tell Joe, I think Iowa should come too because they played such a good game, says the very pleasant Jill Biden. No, they actually got crushed 102-85. Nice try. Message to Jill Biden. Not Joe, Jill. You do know Joe will lose both Iowa and Louisiana. So if there was a political angle to this, which I think there is, I think there's always a political angle, he's going to lose both states. In fact, he's going to lose them badly. No chance, no way. Jeff Ford is already predicting the results are in. The old man loses Iowa, and the old man really, really, really loses Louisiana. But I'm guessing her political and her emotional attachment to this championship game was a strategy. And that is, the strategy was our administration is not the misogynistic Trump administration. We empower women, so we'd like all of you to come because we're just nice. I think that was the strategy here. I don't doubt. I'm never going to minimize anyone in politics, their thoughts, but I don't think she was thinking we're going to win Louisiana and Iowa. I think she was thinking, I want to make sure that we get a photo op with a bunch of young women because the other dude, not so much. So I think that's the look she was going for. You can disagree. That's fine. I think it's safe to say this, too. Okay, one, you're going to lose both those states badly. Two, I'm pretty sure Joe wins the under 70 female vote across the board going away. I don't think the guy getting arraigned yesterday for paying a porn star, I don't think he's going to do well with a young female demo. Just saying that. Just a few political predictions before we get into the rough stuff. So I think you're on safe ground there. Now, the issue is reacting to the reactions. As for the taunting debate and all the things that come with it, that is, and you're not going to like my take on this, that is race and sex. I'm going to say seeking out this argument, which I think is kind of whining, but what's come out of that game is a full-on raging talk show, chum in the water debate about reactions to stars on race and sex. Now, I think you could, by the way, I don't think this is a new debate. The other high-profile debate also goes back to the women's U.S. soccer team. Right? I mean, I think I said this yesterday, that what the LSU Iowa game did for women's basketball, the U.S. women's soccer team had done a few years ago when they won the Women's World Cup, and that is just make it high profile. Remember what I said, though. You are high profile, you're going to get blowback. Are you going to whine about it? I think this argument, you're not going to like this point either, I think this argument goes to the women's soccer team as well. Okay, and that is, you're reacting. Their position is, you're reacting to me differently. That blowback, that anonymous bullhorn that I'm getting, it's reacting to me differently because I'm female, or in this case, I'm female and black. That same thing happened to a large degree. And I think a lot of people want to jump on this and agree. And I'm going to agree that the reactions are out there. I've already said that. What I don't like is the whining about the reactions. That's what's happening now. It's not a bunch of knuckleheaded reactions. There's always knuckleheaded reactions. I told you already. You turn over the rock, you're going to get blowback. What we're talking about now is how unfair the blowback was and why the blowback is the way that it is. The women's soccer team, when you had some female soccer players kneeling, there was blowback. Yeah, that's not new, by the way. But the response to them was, oh, we're getting this hate just because we're female athletes. No, I mean, what are you whining about? You wanted the stage. You want it. You want to be a star? Be a star. This comes with it. It's stuff. So this one goes, this with the basketball player, it goes even further. And there's this issue of taunting, and I think we could debate taunting all the time. I don't think people getting mad about an athlete taunting someone else or happy about an athlete taunting someone else is new either. I don't think any of this stuff is new. You're trying to make it new, and you're trying to make it about being a woman. You're trying to make it about being black. And I'm telling you, there's knuckleheads everywhere. So everyone with a microphone, first of all, acts like, full disclosure here, everyone with a microphone acts like they watch a lot of women's college basketball. All of a sudden, I've never heard so many people watch so many female college basketball games. For full disclosure, I do not. I watch very little. I can't think of a women's college basketball game I've seen this entire year until about 35 minutes of that game the other day. Just full disclosure. I have no idea what the season was like. It doesn't matter for this argument, but just for full disclosure, let's stop pretending that we're all experts on this. But I've seen that game, much of that game, and I've certainly seen the taunting and the blowback from the taunting. And now every one of us sitting and doing a talk show or not doing a talk show over a cup of coffee or a good glass of wine is arguing the same thing. Was the reaction unfair? I'm telling you, the reaction to the reaction is lame. Stop whining. You want the light? The light sucks. The knuckleheads suck. But you're not being singled out. All right, so here we go. What happened? I do like, for full disclosure as well, I do like what the LSU player, here in the talk show business, I like this. I like the way both players have just sort of, they're diving in, man. They're going all in. Both players involved have been refreshingly outspoken. They have, and they're not backing away. They are refreshingly outspoken. I think at times it sounds whiny, but in the talk show business, they're refreshingly outspoken. You wouldn't get this much out of a college football player. Neither one of the women involved are backing away from a microphone. Caitlin Clark has said, lay off. I'm fine with what she did, taunting. In fact, she said this. It took her 25 seconds and handled it pretty well.
I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. No matter which way it goes, she should never be criticized for what she did. I'm just one that competes, and she competed. So I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk in the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel. So, I don't think she should be criticized. Like I said, LSU deserves it. They played so well. And like I said, I'm a big fan of hers.
Well done. Own it. Meet it. There you go. You could say the same thing to the other player. I just think my industry's reaction to the reaction is kind of whiny and lame. So here's the USA Today. Reaction to Angel Reese taunting Caitlin Clark shows the double standard for black athletes. She tweeted, I'm too ghetto. I don't fit the narrative, and I'm okay with that. I'm from Baltimore, where you hoop outside and talk trash. If it was a boy, y'all wouldn't be saying none at all. Don't agree. Let's normalize women showing passion for the game instead of it being, quote, embarrassing. I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit the box y'all put me in. I'm too hood. I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. When other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. That was for the people that look like me. So this is the USA Today. To be clear, what she's saying is the other people means white people. That's true. You turned over the rock. You wanted the stage. See, this is what happens when you chase it down. This is what you get. It's exactly what you get. And you're going to say, well, Jeff, that doesn't make it right. I said whining about the stage gets pretty tiresome. So I mostly disagree. Are there double standards? If everybody wants to talk about a double standard, absolutely there's a double standard. Don't act like the double standard only applies to women. Everyone's chasing that audience, and the audience is messed up. They got an anonymous bullhorn. Anonymous bullhorn. One thing about social media, it is outed stupid. One thing about social media, it is outed racist and homophobes, and go down the list. Absolutely. But now you sought it out, and now you're mad about it? And I don't think it's all about being female. I disagree. Mostly disagree. Double standard absolutely exists. I just talked the other day about the ultimate double standard, the ultimate sports double standard. Race and ageism and sport all mixed into one. And that is Greg Popovich. Okay? I think most of the blowback when it comes to taunting, I think most of the blowback when it comes to reactions to an old white guy versus a young black player is racial and generational. Absolutely. Greg Popovich is the poster child. The reaction to Greg Popovich is the ultimate poster child of double standards. The non-reaction to Greg Popovich, the coach of the Spurs, is the ultimate double standard. Okay? And that is, an old white guy can say stuff that a young black player would never get blowback from Fox News. But that is racist and generational, and it absolutely exists. Absolutely. It's anonymous blowhorns. Yes. But it doesn't just apply to her. It doesn't. There are plenty of races. There are plenty of sexist trolls. No doubt about it. But the outing of the knuckleheads is exactly what you're running into. And you're running into it just like a lot of other people. That's my argument. So it's not new, and it doesn't only apply to women. I'm tired of that drumbeat of the last 48 hours, acting as if it only applied to a woman. When Johnny Manziel, here you go, here's an example of a college player that people love to hate on. When he would throw a pass or something, he would do the money sign. People ripped him to shreds, not just because he was a white guy at A&M. He acted like a punk ass. That's why. I mean, that was their takeaway. This is not new. This happened. A similar setup happened with the U.S. women's soccer team. So they kneel, some of them kneel for the national anthem. They wanted the stage. They wanted the reaction. And they got ripped. And then they argue, you're only ripping me because I'm a woman. That's not true. Other people that kneel get ripped by some of the audience, get praised by some of the audience. Other people that talk trash get praised by some of the audience, get ripped by some of the audience. LeBron James says the same thing that Greg Popovich says, and he gets ripped by some of the audience. He gets praised by some of the audience. The critics are just being critics. And you wanted a bigger stage, you got the stage. Stop making yourself different. Think about this. Okay, I know this is unpopular to say, but you can't fix social media. You can't fix the blowhorn. You can't. You want to play basketball in front of 9 million people, guess what? Some of them suck. There you go. You're acting as if they suck only because you're female and only because you're black, and I'm disagreeing with some of that. See, you don't want to be treated differently, but you're asking now, you're saying that you're treated differently, and you're asking to be treated differently. I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers is called Vespa Boy and a crybaby by plenty of us critics, and that the same critics that might react to how you were taunting, waving your hand in front of your face and pointing at your ring finger for a championship. I thought it was over the top since it was at the end of the game, but people can react that any other way. You're saying and supporters are saying, and most people would call me out and say, yes, it's because she's female and black. Some, yes. All, no. I think running to this was a cautionary tale. And I know there's a lot of people backing her up. And I do understand. And I don't dismiss the double standard. I don't dismiss the racists. I don't dismiss the homophobes. Absolutely. But I think running to I'm female and black and the people glomming onto I'm female and black narrative, are the ones screaming, don't treat my sport different. But you're wanting the critics to treat you different. The critics suck. You know what else? So does the praise. It's all the same. It's all the same. You don't want to be different, but yet you're asking to be different. I think that's my argument. I'm not minimizing the hate, the existence of the hate. I'm saying you want to play in front of 9 million people. And you want reactions, and you want to be out there, and that's the way you play, and you said that's the style of play, and you have no problem talking trash, and the woman you're talking trash to said, I have no problem talking trash. You want all the things that would come with an NCAA men's championship game, or an NBA game, or a men's World Cup game. You want all the things that come with it, and now you got it. And now you're saying it's just because you're female and black. You get big ratings, you're treated the same. You're on a bigger stage. Every time the light gets brighter, the reactions get nastier and nastier. It's an absolute reality. So stop asking to be treated differently when it's ugly.